What is it, my ducks and drakes? Welcome to the Credit Lake, and today I am reading chapters 11 and 12 of Misunderstanding, a senior science fanfic by ElliottGreen333. If you'd like to support this wonderful author, links to the book and to the author's Wattpad will be in the description below. Please support them because, yes, good fanfic. Mwah. Chef's kiss. And with that, we shall be moving on to actually before that. In the description, there is a link to a Google form. On that Google form, you could recommend fanfiction to me, no matter where it's at. It doesn't have to be Wattpad. It could be any other place you get your fanfiction from. And if you recommend it, I'll ask the author and read it, because I am bad at looking for fanfiction. Now with that, here is part 11, Virgil. As I entered Roman's room, the entire place was enveloped with chaos. Things were misplaced, out of place, and an all-around mess. This was not what I ever expected Roman's room to look like. Speaking of the slightly odd prince, he was digging through his closet. He was throwing clothes all over the floor. From what I could see, they were all his princely outfits and accessories. He poked his head out. "Oh, hello there, Logan," he greeted. I couldn't say anything before Deceit sighed and pinched his nose. It was almost funny to watch him get annoyed with the prince. "For the last time, this is Virgil," Deceit told him. Roman just shrugged, going back to whatever he was doing. I turned to the snake, getting his attention. "All right, spill. What's up with him?" Once again, Deceit sighed. He seemed to be struggling with the information he was holding in, but I could tell he was on edge of bursting like a dam. "Okay, so I may or may not have accidentally erased all of Roman's memories because he started threatening me in the dark mine palace because Logan caught me sneaking out of Patton's room and I don't know how to fix it yet." I felt faint as he told me all this. "What do you mean you don't know how to fix him?" I whisper-yelled. "That is not what I said. I said I don't know how I can fix him yet. I do not know how, not that I can't," he clarified. "But trust me, Virgil, I am going to fix this. You just have to promise not to tell the others, all right?" I slightly confused upon hearing that part. He's never cared about what the others do or what they know. "Why?" I dared to ask. His yellow eyes seemed to light up a little with his realization. He turned to me. His face softened. "Just please don't. It's not a big deal. Roman will be back to normal in a couple of days anyway. The others just need to focus on helping Thomas while we deal with this. You do think we should take care of Thomas, don't you?" Deceit grinned, flicking his tongue out at me. I raised an eyebrow at him. He seemed to be trying to hide something from me, an action I was very familiar with him doing. He did have a point, though. This will only get Logan and Patton involved, which drives them away from what should be our focus, Thomas. I agreed, watching him visibly relax. "Now, that's settled," he mumbled, taking a small piece of paper from atop Roman's drawer. "If I'm correct, my magic took his memories away. Thing is, I don't exactly know how I ended up doing that in the first place, but if my magic took his memories away, then I should be able to bring them back," he explained. "That sounds awfully complicated," I muttered, letting my anxiety get the best of me. "Are you sure we shouldn't at least tell Logan about this? I mean, he's pretty smart. Maybe he can help you." "No," Deceit insisted. "Nobody needs to know. Patton can't hear about this. I was taken back." He paused. I paused. I was taken back by that statement. He seemed to be as well as I proceeded what he just said. "Why Patton?" "Well, he's been spending a lot of time with Thomas recently, right? He should stay with Thomas. He's our #1 priority," He kept raising his voice at me. He was getting defensive about something. I'm just not sure what. But nevertheless, I agreed with him. Whatever you say, Deceit, I grumbled. Roman poked his head out from the closet again. He locked eyes with me. It made me feel somewhat self-conscious when he didn't stop looking at me. I sheepishly looked at my shoes, still feeling his harsh glare on me. He came closer to me, skinning me up and down with his eyes. I swallowed, feeling violated a little bit. Sooner or later, Deceit came over to us. I quietly stepped behind Deceit, breaking contact with Roman. All right, Ro. We're gonna get your memories back, Deceit announced. Oh, okay, he cheered without his memories. Roman has a very one-track mind. I suppose we were all like this once when we first formed. I mean, we didn't know or understand anything, so if someone told you what to do, how are you supposed to deny them? The prince sat on his bed while Deceit stood directly in front of him. His hands began to take a yellow hue as he shut his eyes to concentrate. It seemed to be going well. Roman's body began to glow a bright golden yellow as Deceit's cape whirled around in a sudden gust of wind. Deceit's teeth were grinding together, doing everything in his power to bring back the Roman we all know. The snake yelled out as if he fell backward. I caught him by his underarms, watching the prince's glow fade as he flopped back onto the bed. I was heavily breathing as my gaze shifted to the seemingly unconscious duo. Deceit slowly opened his eyes, grounding his feet and standing up on his own again. You all right? I asked. He nodded, rubbing his hands on his pants. Think so. What about him? He asked, pointing towards the prince. Curiously, we both approached him. His breathing was steady, eyes peacefully shut. I looked nervously at Deceit, seeing his return my gaze. He grabbed my hand. The same thing running through our minds. I hope this works. Slowly but surely, Roman stood back up. He rubbed his head before rubbing his head before opening his eyes and looking at us. Roman? I asked. I bit my lip, hoping for a good response. Who? Deceit and I both sighed. He let go of my hand. I could start to tell he was getting angry. He ran his gloved hands through his hair, pulling and tugging at it. Hey, calm down, I told him. He leaned into one of Roman's drawers, holding his eyes tightly shut as he tried to calm down. We're gonna fix this, all right? The snake sighed, nodding his head. Yeah. Part 12. Patton. After Roman disappeared and Logan sunk down with Virgil, Thomas looked even more confused and stressed than when we first arrived. He was running his fingers through his hair, trying to process whatever the heck just happened. My host turned to me, an obviously anxious glint in his eyes. What the hell happened? Thomas screamed. He looked to me, begging me to answer him. To be honest, I had no answers for him. I was just as lost as he was. Why did Roman mention Deceit? Why doesn't he want him to talk to me? Why was he acting crazy? What has happened to Thomas's creativity? Patton? Thomas asked again. I shook my head, trying to push my thoughts aside for the sake of my host. Oh, sorry, kiddo, I said, reaching out to him. I grabbed onto his arm. He seemed unsteady, so I wanted to stabilize him so he wouldn't fall over or faint on me. Why don't we both take a seat? I can try to help you. I told him I was doing my best to be cheery around Thomas, no matter how much I wanted to go talk to Deceit right now. Thomas needed me. We sat on his couch, both trying to calm down. After he seemed somewhat calm, I rubbed his back. I wasn't entirely sure who I was trying to distract more, myself or him. So, what did you need help with, kiddo? I asked. He mumbled, dragging his laptop back onto his lap. He swept the mouse pad until I woke back up. I could see it was a script on the screen. It seemed to be another Sandersides episode. He was about halfway through it, but it seemed like he got writer's block. I was writing another script, but suddenly all my ideas just disappeared. Thomas's idea is gone. Everything Roman represents, gone. That's odd. More questions came into my head than I had answers for. Deceit was acting weird, and now Roman was acting weird. Were they connected somehow? Was there something I missed? I looked back at Thomas. I must have had a scared look on my face as he started to shake and breathe oddly. Hey, it's okay, kiddo. You'll get your ideas back. No problemo. I spoke, trying to be my normal level of happiness. Patton, answer me honestly, Thomas begged. I sighed, my face turning downward. I looked him in the eye, wanting to be as honest as I could. I don't know what's going on, kiddo, but I guarantee you, Roman will be okay. Maybe he just hit his head too hard in the imagination or something. I pulled Thomas into a hug, rubbing his hair calmly. Everything's gonna go back to normal. What about Deceit? He asked. I went wide-eyed, a worried look encompassing me. I gulped. I can't tell Thomas about our relationship. I'd lose Dee Dee. I'd lose him forever. Why don't you get some sleep for tonight? I asked, hoping he wouldn't notice the subject change. I rubbed his back a little more. Before he could protest, he groaned in my arms. A wave of sleep towered my poor host. I smiled to myself. Much like a parent can lull their child to sleep, I could do that with Thomas. He went limp in my arms. I pulled out the hug and watched his head drop to his chin. Good night, kiddo, I said. I leaned him across the couch, putting a big pillow behind his head and a throw blanket over him, against the top of his head before plugging his laptop into its charger and sinking into the floor. Once I was in the Mind Palace, my mind was locked on only one thing. Deceit. He has something to spill, and I'm not stopping until I get what I want to know out of him. Figuring he'd be with Roman, I headed directly for his bedroom door. As I stared down the door, second-guessing everything. Maybe this is wrong. Maybe I'm being too quick to judge the situation. Maybe I'm just being overprotective. Deceit would never hide anything from me. Right? He loves me, and I love him. I need to trust him on this. If something was truly wrong, he'd tell me. Wouldn't he? I took a deep breath, stepping back from the door. I need to trust him. I kept telling myself that. Patton? I heard coming from behind me. I turned around to see Logan, curiously peering at me from across the hall. I shyly smiled, rubbing my shoulder. Hey there, Logan, I mumbled, eyes cast downward. Worried about Roman? He asked. He came closer to me, tucking the book he was reading under his arm. I turned to face him. Yeah, he was just so weird with Thomas today. And all that talk about deceit, it just makes me worry for the both of them, I admitted. That's understandable. I mean, you are the fun-loving father figure, right? He joked, getting me to giggle a little bit. It's perfectly okay to have feelings like this. Are you just nervous to ask? Oh, I flushed red, not entirely sure how to answer that question. I was nervous to ask Deceit if he was lying, not Roman. I was just second-guessing myself. I don't want to make a big deal out of this if it's a small issue. I guess I don't want to mess everything up. You could never do that, Patton, Logan assured me. I gave him a tired smile. What I said wasn't a lie. I just wanted everything to work out. Why don't you get some rest? It's been a long day for all of us. Yeah. Good night, Lo, I said. I walked back towards my room, slowly calming down. Tucking myself into bed, it felt colder without Deceit being here to calm my restless mind. But in the end, I think I fell asleep. Thank you so much for listening. If you'd like to support me, there are links in the description to my Etsy shop, second channel, my social medias, including TikTok, where I do Scenic cosplays, Instagram, Twitter, my Wattpad, and the Discord channel where you can talk to other ducks and drakes. So, I hope you're enjoying this. You subscribe to get next week's episode of chapters, I think it's 13 and 14. Yeah, 13 and 14. Once again, thank you for listening, and much like Patton trying to calm down Thomas, do your best.